the best male lead ever. I said what I said. Hey everybody, welcome to Book Time. If you are new here, my name is Leah, and I'm so excited to take you along on the journey for my March and April wrap-up. I have so many books that I did not actually do a wrap-up for, so let's get right into it. In the month of March, I did 7 books, which is actually kind of a lower end number for me. I usually do anywhere from 10 to 20, but I did start the incredible journey of Throne of Glass, and I came in with my first book being Throne of Glass at number 4. 4-star, it was great, I loved it. Selena is like my all-time favorite. I love her way more than Feyre in ACOTAR. I said what I said. I know there's mixed reviews, but I did love it. I thought it was a great establishment, world building, and character development in the first, well, in my opinion, the second book, because I read Assassin's Blade first. I also said what I said. The next book that I did was A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, and I 5-starred this amazing freaking book. The audiobook, hands down, the best. It walks you through basically a girl's disappearance, and they believe that her boyfriend committed a murder, killed her because of like a lover's quarrel. But then as you go through and you start actually getting into the mystery, so much unravels, and it's really wonderful. In my opinion, the audiobook was so good because it actually does like phone calls between people, and it's just like so exciting and epic. So it's just really, really good. I 5-starred it. Absolutely have to go read that. Love, Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood was the next book that I read. Okay, so it was a 3 for me. I just felt like I do really like that she adds a lot of scientific elements into her books, but I just felt like the love story had the ick. There was just something about it that had the ick. I don't know. I remember reading it just thinking, their romance just, there's just something about it I didn't like. Now, overall, the book redeemed itself. The ending was really good, but I just did not like the main character's love story. Okay. The next book that I read was Crown of Midnight. So that is the 3rd book, in my opinion, once again. And that is for the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas. And I 5-starred that book because, oh my gosh, it was so good. Like, the ending is what people live for. Like, the ending dropped the bomb. It was so good. If you were reading it, read to the end. To the end. The next book I actually buddy read with a friend, and it is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I 3-starred it. You know, it's like, it's living on Mars, it's dystopian, it's anti-government, like the government's taking over in negative ways. It's YA. There are different groups of people. You have the Goldens, who are like high status society, and then you have the Reds, who are like the lowest status society. So I guess in the real world, it would kind of mirror if a government was lying to their people the entire time, and they were saying, you're working towards this goal, but the goal had already been completed and they were living in the dark. Hunger Games in Outer Space. The last book I read was Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, and I'll be honest, y'all, it was boring. I thought it was super boring. I 2-starred it. It's a story where this girl finds her love. She decides to make a deal with him. He is, I don't even remember half these people in this book. She makes a deal with him that, you know, she has to kiss someone 3 times at his behest if he makes sure that her love doesn't marry her sister, I believe, and blah, blah. It was just really boring. It was a fairy tale story. If you liked it, I'm very sorry for your loss in time. All right, that brings us to the April wrap-up. Okay, so April, I actually read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books. Coming in at number 1 was The Storied Life of AJ Ficker. My friend Keisha at A Book Like You loves this book, and so did I. 5-star. It was amazing. It's about this kind of grumpy man who owns a bookstore, and his wife has passed away. He's living kind of like a, I don't know, agoraphobic existence. Maybe not, that's not the word. Maybe like a hermit existence. And one day a baby is left in his bookshop that changes his life forever and begins him on a journey that ultimately leads him to find happiness and love ever after. And it's just the most beautiful story. It's also for book lovers. It's very literary heavy on, you know, book terms, quotes and authors, and I just absolutely loved it. Okay, the next book I love, Rebecca Searle. It's Expiration Dates. I 5-starred it. Basically, the entire book was, what if we thought our fate was determined by something else? And what if we took our power back and we decided, despite fate, I'm gonna love who I wanna love. The book was thought-provoking, deep, magical realism, beautifully written. Anything she does is fabulous. 5-star. The next book I read was actually from my April TBR, and this is from my friend Talia from Booking on a Budget. She gave me Daughter of the Pirate King to read for my April TBR video. If you watched it, it was cray, but it was super fun. I 3-starred it. It's by Trisha Levenseller. It was really cute. I mean, it's your typical, like, this girl is the daughter of the Pirate King, and she is actually, how do I not spoiler this? There's a very interesting aspect about her that gives her a lot of power. And later it's revealed as to why. There's kind of a cute love story. She's a quirky character. It's basically like this guy takes over her father's ship, but she's also letting him, because she's looking for something that he knows where it is, a map to a certain island that has all kinds of wealth. So it was a cute story. It didn't blow my mind. I probably won't read the second one. The next book is the rule book, Sarah Adams, Need I Say More, 4-star. I would have rated it higher, but it wasn't like my absolute favorite, and I've read a lot of her books. So I will say that the rule book was super cute because, once again, it's a football romance. And she is just someone who broke up with this guy in high school, or sorry, she broke up with this guy in college. They have kind of like a love-hate relationship going on. She, unbeknownst to her, takes him on as like her PR project because she's in sports marketing, and they have to kind of figure out how in the heck they're going to make the relationship work when, if she drops him, she kind of loses her job, and if he drops her, he's going to screw up her career, and also he needs her. So it's a really sweet story about just kind of how to reconnect after you've already like called it quits. The next book that I absolutely loved was The Four Winds, and this was also part of my April TBR pick by my bestie Wendy, and it's a Kristen Hanna book, and I 5-starred it. One of the best books I've ever read. It follows a family through the Great Depression and what the Dust Bowl kind of situation looked like, what it looked like to have a family back then, how you can persevere in hard times. And there were so many great quotes and lessons learned in the book about empathy, loving people, and standing up for things that are not just, not right, not morally correct in a political sphere. And it was just phenomenal. The next book I read was A Dark and Stormy Murder, and this was also a suggestion from my friend Keisha from A Book Like You, and it was super cute, cozy mystery by Julia Buckley. I 3-starred it. I actually really liked it. It was just like, to me, a cozy mystery. Probably won't get a 5-star unless it blows my mind, but it was so cute. I loved it. It's about this girl who begins to co-write with one of her favorite writers of all time. And so she's on this journey writing with her, but while she's helping her co-writing, she's living in this lady's house with her. There's a huge mystery that unfolds with one of their neighbors. And she's also caught up in a love situation with the neighbor that has a huge scandal attached to his name. And just the way that it all unfolds and the way they figure out and solve the mystery was really unique. I also read The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. It's a 4-star. It was a really great book, basically about this lady who begins to write someone in the army and their correspondence back and forth, and then something tragic happens to where he then has to go seek her out because her brother dies, and he is best friends with her brother, and when he seeks her out, lots of things are revealed and their love unfolds. The next book that I read was actually part of my friend Gwen's Patreon for her Bring Your Own Book for the Night Owl Book Club, and I read Riley Sager's Final Girls. I gave it a, where did I give it a 3-star? No, wait, I gave it a 4-star. I'm sorry. I gave it a 4-star. It was a really great story. It had a lot of trauma, memory loss. There was a story that one girl went through a trauma, she didn't quite remember it, and they were trying, like the detectives and the police were trying to find the pieces of her story that were missing. And some people believe she was willingly forgetting, like there were things that she was kind of like gonna be incriminating herself if she revealed. But then other people believe that she was just someone who went through so much trauma. So there's a lot of angst in the book, and like, is she bad? Is she good? Then she meets another final girl, which if you don't know, it's a horror term for like the lone survivor. Think scary movie, one girl left standing after a massacre. So she meets another final girl who also went through a tragic situation and survived. And that girl begins to push the main character, Quincy, to face her biggest fears and fill in the gaps in her story. And when the story is revealed, it blows up. All right, the next book I read was just for the summer, and I did a reading vlog on this, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's Abby Jimenez, 5-star, one of the best books I have read this year. Just all of the things, all of the feels, great writing, poetic writing, huge topics that are tackled, love, loss, trauma, neglect, parental issues, identity issues, avoidance, relationship attachments, just so many different themes are in this book, and she wraps it up so beautifully. One girl basically has been neglected her whole life by her mother, and she is embarking on a new relationship with somebody who says that he's cursed because every person he dates, the next person that person dates after they break up, they marry. So he believes like he is just cursed. He's facilitating everyone towards their perfect match. And so she believes the same thing. Every person that she dates and breaks up with, that person ends up finding their perfect match. So they believe if they both date these two people who have the same problem, that they will cancel each other out and the curse will be broken. Whoa. It does not stop there. It gets so intricate. Their relationship gets so layered. So many things are revealed. He helps her through so much trauma. He is a golden retriever, the sweetest man in the world, the MVP, and to be honest with you, the best male lead ever. I said what I said. The next book is Divine Rivals, historical fantasy. I didn't think I was gonna like this, guys. Rebecca Ross, 4-starred it, loved it, thought it was amazing. Imagine, older times, like 1930s, with a Gazette. This girl works for a Gazette. Her and another boy works on the Gazette, and they are rivals. They're both like vying for the same columnist job. And they're also both like secretly pining for each other. And so, but their relationship is kind of like enemies to lovers. And they go through this huge process where they're fighting it out. And then something traumatic happens in her life, which is the catalyst that makes her go on the road. Her brother is already in the army fighting a war that is for divine beings. So imagine governments, but like the divine gods rule the government. And so they're fighting on behalf of the gods. This war is because two gods are fighting. And so her brother is going to fight for one god. And she goes on the road as a war journalist, and so many crazy things unfold. And lo and behold, she is on the war front as a journalist, and her rival, Rowan, ends up being there. And so their connection deepens and lots of great things happen. 4-star, loved it. The next book I read was Julia Buckley's Death in Dark Blue. This is the second book in her Dark and Stormy Murder Writer's Apprentice mystery cozy series. And I loved it. It was really cute. But once again, I'm never gonna 5-star a cozy. So a 2 for a cozy is like a 3 for any other book, and I gave it a 2-star. It was cute. Basically what happens is things accelerate with her love interest in the first book, and lots more mysteries unfold. They add an international element that kind of got lost on me, and for that reason, I gave it a 2-star. The next book that I read was The Off Limits Rule by Sarah Adams. Okay. Keisha and Wendy hate me now for hating their book. No, they don't. I'm just kidding. But they were definitely disappointed. I thought it was going to be an automatic 5-star. I gave it a 3.75. I've read a lot of Sarah Adams, y'all, and it wasn't my favorite of her work. I just felt like the main character was a little immature for me, and I do feel like it was kind of like he was dating, the main love interest was dating a teenager, but she was also a single mom, so I felt like she was going to be a little bit more mature. The character development lacked for me, and the relationship, in my opinion, just wasn't my cup of tea. I feel like I can be awkward as a person, but I'm not that awkward, and she's real awkward. So Lucy's awkwardness just, it gave me a little bit of the ick. For that reason only, I 3.75 started, but that's still a good rating in my opinion. Sorry, friends. All right, the last book that I read was Riley Sager, The Only One Left. Once again, my best friend Megan and Wendy thought I was gonna 5-star automatically. Everyone did, so did I. But I gave it a 2 5 stars because, to be honest with you, I was bored, man. I was bored for like 70% of that book. It was just boring. And then the last 30% really blew up and it was really, really good. So if you're reading that book, keep going. Basically what it is it is about this lady who has a kind of folklore story about her life. Her name is Lenora. They believe she killed her family, and she lives on this huge house on the top of a hill, and she apparently now is mute and paralyzed and can't move and can't tell anybody what happened, and so she can't defend herself, and everyone thinks she did it. And we don't know anything other than the fact that she's really old and she can't talk. And so there is a lady who comes to work for her as a nurse aide that is given kind of this job because nobody wants it, and this nurse aide had just been through a sticky situation where she almost lost her job, or she has also been like accused of mercy killing, and so she ends up working for Lenora, this older lady who's accused of killing her whole family, and creepy things happen. It's a very atmospheric gothic story. It just wasn't like my favorite all time. I love Riley Sager, and to me, popular opinion, Final Girls was better than this one, but I still really liked it. And I will tell you, the last 30% was 5-star worthy. The way that it unfolded, the plots literally blew up in my face. If I could give any critique, I felt like there were not enough, like the plot didn't unfold, it kind of blew up. So I felt like there weren't as many breadcrumbs along the way to like get you invested in the story. So that is my wrap up, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and I hope to see you back next time. And I promise to hopefully post a May TBR soon, but I hope you guys are having a great day and be blessed. Goodbye.